Summer's here, so that means times for beach reads, reading outside and taking your books everywhere you go. So ideally you go from this to this. And that's what we're doing today. I compiled a quirky selection of 10 thin classics that you can read in a few hours a day at most. They're all under 250 pages and they are ideal to take anywhere you go. And I say quirky because this time I didn't go for the usual suspects. Some books in this selection might be surprising, but they are all totally worth it. So let's dive into my big list of tiny books. Now, as always, I will be linking all the books I talk about down below in the descriptions so you can do your own research. And the first one on the list might be an unpopular selection already. I'm talking about The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. Now, I've seen this book get a lot of criticism of lately. It gets a lot of shade because people don't know what it's about. They think it's much to do about nothing. But I disagree. The Old Man and the Sea is a book about perseverance. It is a book about overcoming hardships in the worst of times. It is a minimalist book. It is that typical Hemingway style of telling a lot without using a word too much. Now, I still believe this is a true classic, a heartfelt story that it is worth reading. So that's why it's the first on our list. Second one on our list today is Animal Farm by George Orwell. Now, hear me out. Animal Farm is a simplistic tale almost. It can be read by anyone. It is told like a fable or a fairy tale and it is very accessible. But it is so much more. It is one large allegory of the Bolshevik Revolution, an actual event from history. It doesn't only help us to understand what happened to the Tsars and the Communist Revolution in Russia, but it also helps to understand ourselves as humans. It is a quick and entertaining read that can be easily stuffed somewhere in a backpack or in a handbag. So take it with you, make it your new favorite book, because remember, all books are equal, but some are more equal than others. As our third pick for today, I went for A Study in Scarlet by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. This is the first Sherlock Holmes book. This is where it all started. This is the book where Holmes and Watson meet, and this is where every Holmes trope that we come to know and love is born. There are many ways that you can start reading Sherlock Holmes, and if you want me to make a video about that, let me know down below in the comments, but A Study in Scarlet is a very good place to start. Study in Scarlet is a quick-paced, easy read that excels in storytelling. In fact, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle will almost have you rooting for the villain in this story. So summer's here and the game's afoot. Number 4 can be considered a bit of a curveball as well. It is To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. And this is a more advanced read, some would say. Some would even say that it is about nothing in particular, but that was the point. Life isn't a neat arranged series of events, one after the other. It is a kaleidoscope, it's a maelstrom of blurry ideas, emotion, events and encounters. And that's what this book is all about. To the Lighthouse gets the psychology right. The characters in this book are people you and I know from our real lives. And Virginia Woolf captured their hopes and dreams and fears and little tics and quirks ever so well. So if you're up for the challenge, To the Lighthouse. Number 5 is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Now, what started as an idea for a story competition over 200 years ago is a book that is ever so relevant today. It touches on social alienation, on parenthood and the responsibilities that come with it, on unbridled ambition, you name it, this book has it. The complex and intricate characters inspire both antipathy and admiration in you as a reader, and that's why this book is ever so good. Frankenstein is an easy read that packs a big punch and ideal for those stormy summer evenings. Number 6 is Northanger Abbey. No one's favorite book by Jane Austen. It's not Pride and Prejudice, it's not Emma, but it has so much to offer. For starters, it is, in my opinion, one of the funniest books that Jane Austen ever wrote. It sports a heroine that champions reading fiction books. I mean, come on! It is a beautiful coming-of-age story, and in a way we are all a bit Catherine deep in ourselves, as we realize that we are not the main characters of this world and not everything should be taken so seriously. So, if you're looking for a bit of romance this summer, why not give Northanger Abbey a try? Number 7 is The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. It is one of the best examples of gothic fiction out there. It is a study about paranoia, guilt and insanity, and an excellent example of how the biggest horror is often found in our own mind. A Telltale Heart might be pint-sized, but this is an absolute classic example of a horror story. Slip it into your pocket and the voices in your head will happily escort you anywhere you go. Now, number 8 is a bit cheating and I totally don't care. It is Only Dull People Are Brilliant at Breakfast by Oscar Wilde. And I say cheating because it isn't really a story, but more of a collection of quotes and vignettes and observations by the great mind that was Oscar Wilde. We get to know the world around us through the eyes and wit of Oscar Wilde. Only Dull People Are Brilliant at Breakfast is a social commentary. It is witty, it is sharp, and ironically, while it shows the genius that was Oscar Wilde, it also shows his arrogance and his faults. It is a great gateway into the world of Oscar Wilde, and I highly recommend it. It reads ever so quickly and is ideal for those little lost moments. So again, keep it with you and enjoy it all throughout the summer. With number 9, we dive into the gothic insanity again with The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. This book is written as a collection of journal entries. It is the story of a wife of a physician. Now, she is diagnosed with hysteria by her husband and is confined to the house as her treatment. Being the prisoner of her own house and household, she slowly starts to get insane. And she starts to pick at the ugly yellow wallpaper that is in her room. It was written as an allegory for women's rights. For all women who are prisoners of their own houses and husbands. It is a deeply psychological and even unsettling read because it feels confined. Not just because the story is imprisoned in a single room, but because you as the reader are also imprisoned in the mind of the narrator. Again, not a usual suspect, but very much worth the read. So if you're looking for something totally different, The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman is an absolute must-read classic. And for our last book, number 10, we'll end on a softer note with one of my absolute personal favorites of all times. I'm talking of course about Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. Yes, it is a children's book, but I don't care. It is quintessential Edwardian English with the countryside and all of the woodland animals. And what gets me every time with this book is knowing its backstory. The Wind in the Willows was originally written as a series of bedtime stories. The author Kenneth Grahame had a troubled son, a little sickly boy often named Mouse. Confined to his bed, his father read him all kinds of fantastical animal stories, which became later on The Wind in the Willows. It was said that this boy inspired the character of Mr. Toad. Now, sadly enough, while Mouse survived his sickly childhood, he committed suicide at age 20 while at Oxford. And Kenneth Grahame never wanted these stories to be published because they were deeply personal. It is a good thing they were though, because these are some of the best stories out there. I simply love them. If I have anything that could be considered a comfort read, Wind in the Willows would be it. And I highly recommend anyone with or without children to read this collection of beautiful stories. And now I want to hear from you. What are your plans for the summer? Are you traveling or staying at home? Let me know down below in the comments and we'll talk summer some more. That was my list of 10 quick read classics. If you liked this video, do hit that like button, do give us a subscribe, and if you want some more inspiration, why not watch this video?